I sat alone at the table watching the door. 20 minutes now. The hostess approached with an apologetic smile. Menu tucked under her arm. Would you like to order while you wait, sir? I shook my head, gripping my phone tighter. He'll be here. She nodded and retreated. Around me, the restaurant hummed with quiet confidence. Business suits leaned across white tablecloths. Polished shoes crossed beneath chairs. Laughter rolled out in practiced waves. I'd built something from nothing over 40 years, but none of that showed today. My Target dress shirt felt crisp enough, my slacks pressed, my hands scrubbed clean of the oil that usually lived under my fingernails. Still, I knew what I looked like sitting here. The Ford F-150 in the parking lot, 15 years old but running strong, told its own story. The door swung open. Nicholas walked in first, Cora half a step behind. No apology in his stride, no hurry in his movements. He wore his suit like armor. Expensive fabric draped perfectly across his shoulders. His watch caught the light when he raised his hand to signal the hostess. She rushed over. He spoke without looking at her. Reservation for Whitmore. Cora spotted me and waved, her smile too bright, too nervous. They crossed the room. Nicholas extended his hand without meeting my eyes, his grip brief and dismissive. Orville, traffic was murder. No apology there either. I stood, shook his hand, felt the calluses on mine catch against his smooth palm. He pulled back quickly. Nicholas, good to finally meet you. Cora leaned in for a hug. Her perfume smelled expensive, unfamiliar. Hi, Dad. Thanks for coming all the way downtown. Wouldn't miss it. We settled into our chairs. Nicholas placed his BMW keys on the table beside his phone, casual as breathing. The waiter appeared instantly. Gentlemen, ladies, can I start you with something to drink? Nicholas ordered a scotch, neat, named the brand like it mattered. Cora asked for wine. I requested water. Nicholas glanced at me, something flickering across his face. Amusement, maybe. Pity. Come on, Orville. Have a drink. Celebrate. Our treat. Water's fine. The waiter left. Cora launched into wedding talk, filling the silence with venue options and color schemes. Nicholas listened with half his attention, his eyes wandering to other tables, checking who else occupied this space. When she paused for breath, he turned to me. So, what do you do, Orville? The question landed soft but deliberate. Cora's spine straightened. I work in automotive repair. Been doing it 40 years. His posture shifted. The smile changed, gained edges. Oh, a mechanic. That's honest work. The pause before honest carried more weight than the rest of the sentence combined. Cora jumped in too fast. Dad's really good at what he does. I'm sure he is, honey. Nicholas draped his arm across the back of her chair. Everyone has their place in the economy. Someone's got to keep our cars running right. He laughed. Cora laughed with him, not meeting my eyes. I stayed quiet, watching them together. Her hand found his on the table. She squeezed. The waiter returned. Nicholas ordered first, something elaborate off the upper section of the menu. Cora chose the salmon. When my turn came, I scanned the prices and selected the pasta, second cheapest item available. Don't be shy, Orville. Nicholas gestured broadly. Get whatever you want. Don't worry about the price. His generosity felt like a test. I smiled. Pasta sounds perfect. Throughout the meal, Nicholas dominated the conversation. He talked about his financial consulting firm, the clients they'd landed, the markets they were watching. His vocabulary shifted when addressing me versus Cora. Simpler words, slower explanations. People who work with their hands versus people who work with their minds. It's just different skill sets, you know. Both important, just different. Cora nodded along, her embarrassment radiating across the table. She couldn't look at me directly anymore. Nicholas pulled out his phone twice during dinner, scrolling through messages, showing Cora photos of the venue. He angled the screen away from me, a subtle exclusion. When she asked a question about the ceremony space, he answered in detail, describing features I couldn't see. We'll keep the budget reasonable, he said, still scrolling. Don't want anyone feeling stretched. His eyes flicked to me when he said it. The meaning crystallized in the air between us. Cora touched his arm. We're being smart about it, Dad. You don't need to worry. I'm not worried. Nicholas set his phone down. Speaking of which, we should probably handle most of the planning ourselves. Keep things simple. Your dad probably doesn't have experience with these higher-end venues and vendors. No offense, Orville. Just being practical. None taken. But Cora took offense for him, her cheeks flushing. Nick's right, Dad. We've got it under control. You don't need to worry about anything. Just show up and enjoy. Okay. I cut into my pasta, chewed slowly, swallowed, watched my daughter choose her side in real time. The decision I'd been weighing all evening solidified. I needed to see how far this would go, how deep the disrespect ran, how blind Cora had become. I'll be there, I said, looking directly at her. Wherever you need me. Always have been. The check arrived. Nicholas grabbed it before the waiter finished, setting it down. I've got this one. You've probably got enough on your plate. The emphasis on enough hung there, deliberate. Cora smiled at him, grateful, affectionate. Didn't acknowledge my presence at all. We walked to the parking lot together. The evening had cooled, downtown Denver, settling into its nighttime rhythm. Nicholas clicked his key fob, and his BMW chirped twice. Then he saw my truck. His eyebrows rose. That's your ride? Well, at least it runs, right? He laughed like he'd made a joke. Cora laughed, too. Smaller, uncertain. I unlocked my door. Runs great. Built to last. I climbed in, started the engine. They stood together beside his BMW, his arm around her waist, watching me back out. In my rearview mirror, I saw him lean down, whisper something in her ear. She nodded. I sat in the parking space, hands on the steering wheel, engine idling. Nicholas's BMW pulled away. Cora in the passenger seat. She didn't look back. My phone buzzed against the console. Her name lit up the screen. I stared at it, already knowing this wouldn't be pleasant. The phone buzzed again, insistent. I let it ring twice more before reaching for it. Already knew what this was. I pulled out of the parking lot instead of answering. Drove through downtown Denver's familiar grid. Streets I'd navigated for decades. Past buildings I'd watched go up and come down. The city changed around me while I stayed constant, steady. I passed one of my shops on Colfax. Lights still on in the bay windows. Carlos probably finishing up a late job. Then another on Federal, closed for the night. Security lights casting shadows across the lot. I noted them without attachment. The way you notice old photographs on a wall you pass every day. Arvada welcomed me with quiet streets and modest houses. Mine sat halfway down the block, small and neat. The 15-year mortgage paid off 8 years ago. I pulled into the driveway, cut the engine. The house Elizabeth and I had bought together. Raised Cora in. Made a life around. She decorated the living room with care. Chosen every piece of furniture deliberately. 12 years since cancer took her. The room still looked exactly as she'd left it. I sat on the couch she picked out. Afternoon sunlight streaming through windows she'd insisted face east. The phone buzzed again. Different pattern this time. Voicemail. I waited another 5 minutes, letting the silence settle around me before calling Cora back. She answered on the first ring. Dad. Her voice carried tension, like a wire pulled too tight. Hey, sweetheart. Sorry. Just got home. What's going on? We need to talk about tonight. No preamble, straight into attack mode. Okay, I'm listening. You can't act like that around Nicholas's business associates. Act like what? I barely said 10 words. Exactly. You were so quiet. It was awkward, Dad. Nicholas noticed. His friends will notice. These people are important for our future. The hour didn't include me. I was being polite, letting you two talk about your wedding. It's not just about being polite. Frustration bled through her words now. Nicholas comes from a good family. His parents have connections. This wedding matters. I need you to understand that. I understand. Do you? Because tonight you seemed. She paused, searching for the word. Uncomfortable. Out of place. And that makes me uncomfortable. The accusation stung. I walked to the window, looked out at my workshop in the backyard, my real office, the one that mattered. What do you want from me, COR? I need you to blend in. Don't talk about work. Don't mention money. Or the lack of it. Just smile and nod and let Nicholas and his family handle things. Silence stretched. Do you know what it's like? Her voice cracked. Constantly making excuses for having a father who's just a mechanic. Just a mechanic. The words landed like broken glass. I said nothing. Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Yes, you did. She exhaled hard. Nicholas mentioned you seemed uncomfortable tonight. He thought maybe you'd prefer a smaller role in the wedding. Less pressure on you. A smaller role in my only daughter's wedding. Don't be dramatic. We're just trying to make this work for everyone. You don't understand what this life is like. Nicholas's friends, his colleagues, they judge everything. Where you went to school, what your parents do, what car you drive. I'm finally in that world, and I can't have you messing it up. I moved to the kitchen table, pulled out the notebook I kept for project notes, documenting every word. That's not what I meant, she continued, backtracking but not apologizing. Nicholas has standards. His family has expectations. Can't you just be less visible for me? I finished writing, set the pen down. My voice was steady. Here's what I'll do. I won't tell Nicholas about my business. Won't mention numbers or success. I'll let him think exactly what he thinks now. Relief flooded through the phone. Really? You'll do that? On one condition. She hesitated. What condition? You give me time. Let me see how Nicholas treats a father-in-law he thinks is beneath him. Watch how he acts when he believes I'm nobody. Really watch, Cora. Then ask yourself who you're marrying. Silence. Fine, but you'll see. Nicholas is great once you get to know him. Tonight was just nerves. Wedding stress. Maybe. Thank you, Dad. This means so much. I should go, she said. Nicholas is calling on the other line. Sure. Good night, sweetheart. I sat at the kitchen table, added one more line, wedding planning meeting. Wait for invitation. I poured myself a single glass of whiskey. I made my decision. I'd attend this wedding, play the role of poor mechanic father perfectly, let Nicholas reveal himself fully, let Cora see exactly what she was choosing, give her every chance to wake up before it was too late. My phone buzzed. Text message, unknown number. Orville, this is Linda Whitmore, Nicholas's mother. We'd like you to join us for wedding planning next month, April 15th, our home. 6 p.m. sharp. Sharp. Even the mother started with subtle jabs. I typed back. I'll be there. 3 weeks passed. April 15th arrived. My GPS guided me through Cherry Hills Village. The Whitmore residence spread across its lot like a declaration. I parked my F-150 behind Nicholas's BMW and a silver Mercedes SUV. I walked to the front door and rang the bell. Linda Whitmore opened the door, looked past me to my truck. You found us. Come in. No greeting, no handshake. The interior screamed wealth. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, walls covered in museum-quality art. Everything was positioned perfectly. Nothing out of place, nothing comfortable. The living room opened to my right. Everyone already seated. Nicholas and Robert Whitmore in matching leather armchairs. Cora and Linda on a cream sofa that looked too expensive to actually sit on. Wedding planner materials spread across the coffee table. One seat remained, a stiff dining chair someone had brought from another room, placed slightly apart from the grouping. An afterthought. I took it without comment. Now that we're all here, Linda began, suggesting I kept them waiting despite arriving exactly at 6 o'clock. We've narrowed the venue options, the Manor House in Aurora. It's where proper families celebrate. Robert nodded, his silver hair perfectly styled. Waited 3 months to get that date. They don't take just anyone. The conversation flowed around me. Flowers, music, ceremony, timing. I listened, stayed quiet, played my role exactly as promised. Then Linda shifted topics. Budget. Nicholas mentioned $50,000 total. Very reasonable for a wedding of this caliber. I saw my opening. I'd like to contribute. Help with costs. The room went silent. Nicholas exchanged glances with his parents. Nicholas smiled, condescending. That's thoughtful, but we've got this covered. Wouldn't want you to stretch yourself. Linda leaned forward, voice dripping false sweetness. How sweet that working people want to help, too. But this is rather expensive, Orville. Perhaps you could handle something smaller. The guest book, maybe. Robert set his drink down. So, this auto shop of yours, how many employees? Just you and maybe one other guy. It's bigger than that. Been building it for decades. Robert laughed. Building? That's optimistic. Most small shops barely break even. You're probably treading water. Nicholas joined in. Cora mentioned you do oil changes, brake work, basic stuff. Nothing wrong with that. Someone has to do it. Cora sat beside him, studying her phone, choosing invisibility over defense. Linda stood. I'll get coffee. She left the room. I leaned forward. Robert stood too. Let me show you the study. I followed him. His study featured a wall of business awards and framed photos with politicians. 23 years building my consulting firm. Made something of myself. Nicholas learned from watching me. We returned to the living room. Linda served coffee in fine china cups. Everyone got matching sets except me. She handed me a plain mug, the kind contractors use, and moved on. Nicholas pulled out his laptop. We're doing something interesting with the seating arrangement. He angled the screen away from me. Premium guests, business contacts, family, friends will have the main floor. Best view. He pointed to another section. And we'll have a separate area for everyone else, more casual. Linda nodded. It's about maintaining standards. Nicholas looked directly at me. You'll be comfortable there, less formal, less pressure to, keep up appearances. I understood perfectly. They were publicly marking me as lesser. I stood. I should go. Thank you for having me. Cora walked me to the door. Thanks for understanding, Dad. About the seating, it's just logistics. I walked to my truck, sat there with the engine running. I pulled out my phone, scrolled to Marcus Chen's contact, my attorney. The porch light flicked off behind me. I tapped the screen. Marcus, it's Orville. I need to see you tomorrow. It's important. The next afternoon, I walked into Marcus Chen's law office. I explained the escalating disrespect. You want to protect Cora, Marcus said. From herself. From a mistake she can't see yet. What are you thinking? Transfer ownership of all 12 Hicks Auto Service locations to Cora as a wedding gift. Marcus raised an eyebrow. That's substantial, about $8.5 million in total business value. With a condition. If the marriage dissolves within 3 years, everything reverts to me. Marcus processed it. That's a conditional gift deed with a reverter clause. Legal in Colorado, but complicated. He started sketching legal structures. We prepare the documents now, but date them to take effect the day after the wedding. How aggressive is the 3-year clause? Very. You're banking on Nicholas showing his true nature quickly. He already has. I'm just making sure there's a record when everyone else sees it too. Marcus warned me about the risk of Cora hating me if it backfired. I'm prepared for her to understand eventually. Right now, she can't see what she's walking into. But money has a way of revealing character. 2 weeks for a complete draft. Do it. I left his office feeling purposeful. 23 employees moved through their routines. James Sullivan of Summit Properties Group found me in the office. Your operation here is impressive. 12 locations now. Growth takes time. Nicholas knows what you've built, right? Nicholas knows I work in auto repair. That's enough for him. I handed James his keys. James mentioned Nicholas had invited half the business community, trying to impress someone. I filed that information away. I called Marcus Chen for a discreet financial background check on Nicholas. Marcus called back on Monday. Nicholas had taken a $45,000 personal loan 2 months ago, using the manor house as collateral justification. He was drowning in debt, leveraging borrowed money for appearances. Everything I'd suspected was confirmed. I drove past the manor house that evening, the irony sharp. Nicholas mocked my finances while desperately using debt to project elite status. 3 weeks later, I returned to Marcus's office. The transfer documents were ready, a thick stack of legal papers. The moment Cora signs her marriage certificate, these become active. She'll own everything. Marcus reminded me. I picked up the pen. Not a bet, a certainty. I signed the documents, transferring 12 properties valued at $8.5 million to Cora, conditional on the marriage lasting 3 years. 2 weeks before the wedding, Nicholas called. The background noise of his office suggested arrogance. Orville, we need to discuss logistics for the wedding. That truck of yours, the F-150. You can't drive that to the manor house. It'll look terrible in the parking lot. He paused. And please dress appropriately. Rent a suit if you need to. Something that doesn't scream budget. I'll arrive in what I drive. I'll wear what I own. His tone sharpened. I don't want them thinking I'm married into poverty. Is that clear enough? Cora deserves better than being associated with someone who fixes cars for a living. Do you have any idea what this wedding costs me? I kept my voice level. I'll be there as I am. I hung up, pulled out my secondary phone, and stopped the recording app. Every word was documented. 7 days before the wedding, Cora called. Dad, her voice was tight. Linda and Robert, they suggested maybe you could stand off to the side during formal photos, just for the main shots, to keep the aesthetic cohesive. The aesthetic. It's not personal, she continued. It's just, you know, how wedding photos are. Everyone needs to coordinate. Do you agree with them? I asked. The pause was the longest of my life. I just want everything to go smoothly. You'll have your smooth wedding, I said. I'll stand wherever they tell me to stand. After the call, I finalized the transfer papers, proceeded as planned. The girl who understood what building something real meant was gone. The woman marrying Nicholas couldn't see past appearances. 3 days before the wedding, I had my simple, inexpensive suit dry cleaned. I spent 3 hours washing and detailing my F-150, making it spotless but obviously old. The invitation specified black tie preferred. My suit wouldn't meet the standard. I knew I was counting on it. I drove past the manor house, watching the extravagant setup, confirming the scale of the debt-fueled illusion Nicholas had created. The manor house was vast, the $45,000 borrowed budget visible in every detail. I arrived just after 3 o'clock. The parking lot held luxury sedans, and one glaring anomaly. My 15-year-old F-150. I handed my keys to a confused valet, father of the bride. I walked toward the entrance, the contrast between my $200 suit and the designer attire of the guests deliberate and visible. Nicholas positioned himself near the entrance, performing for his guests. He saw me, and his annoyance flickered before he settled into performance mode. He raised his voice. Orville, you made it. Wasn't sure you'd find the place. He introduced me to a group. Everyone, this is my father-in-law. He's in automotive work. He answered for me. Oh, he's not in sales. He's more hands-on. Repairs, maintenance, that sort of thing. Family seating is inside. They'll show you where. Dismissal was clear. Inside, a coordinator led me through the main ballroom, past the prime seating, and through a doorway into a side area, still visible to the ceremony, but clearly separated. 3 tables were set up, labeled Family Bride Side, with generic printed cards, nearly adjacent to the catering entrance. You'll be comfortable here, the coordinator said brightly. Translation. Hidden from view near the service area. I sat. The main floor filled with Nicholas's guests. I spotted James Sullivan, the fleet service client, in the premium section. He saw me. Confusion changing to dawning realization. He knew the scale of my business. He now saw me relegated to the service entrance. The ceremony began. Cora appeared, beautiful, walking down the aisle alone. No father-daughter walk. I watched from my side position as my daughter married a man who demanded her father be hidden, and she had agreed. I spotted Marcus Chun, my attorney, in the 4th row center, a witness in position. The officiant declared them married. As Nicholas and Cora passed the doorway, Nicholas glanced toward me. Our eyes met for half a second. He smirked. The reception began. Nicholas worked through several glasses of bourbon, growing louder and bolder. I remained at my segregated table. James Sullivan kept glancing toward my section with visible confusion. Nicholas stood abruptly, grabbed his drink, and gestured to his friends. Come on, let me introduce you to my father-in-law. The group weaved through tables toward my section. The performance was clearly planned. Guests noticed, conversations paused, attention shifting. Nicholas arrived with his entourage, speaking loud enough for half the room to hear. Gentlemen, allow me to present Orville Hicks, finest mechanic in the Denver area. Nicholas's friends laughed on cue. He's more comfortable with grease than champagne. Aren't you, Orville? Different worlds, you know. He gestured at his tuxedo, then at my simple suit. One friend played along. A man who works with his hands probably feels out of place at an event like this. All this refinement, all these successful people. Nicholas nodded sagely. Exactly. Nothing wrong with knowing your place. I respect that about working-class folks. They understand their limits. He snapped his fingers. You know what, Orville? There's a lovely courtyard outside. Might be more your speed. Fresh air, no crowd. He pointed toward the French doors. Through the glass, snow was falling heavily at $4*/Circ$F. Seriously, wouldn't you be more comfortable out there, away from all this elite company? No pressure to keep up appearances. Come on, don't be shy. The courtyard's beautiful this time of year. Well, maybe not in a snowstorm at 4 below zero, but you're tough, right? Blue-collar tough. I stood slowly, deliberately, folded my napkin precisely, and made eye contact with Nicholas. The room quieted, sensing confrontation. I looked past Nicholas toward the head table. Cora was watching, face pale. She looked down, said nothing, did nothing. I turned back to Nicholas. Interesting suggestion, Nicholas. Very revealing. My tone was perfectly calm. A voice cut across the room, from the premium section. Wait, hold on a minute. James Sullivan stood at his table, staring at me. He walked forward, confusion shifting to recognition. Orville Hicks. He stopped a few feet away. You're the owner of Hicks Auto Service, aren't you? Nicholas laughed hollowly. What? No, he just works. James cut him off. I know him. We have contracts together. Orville Hicks. I thought that was you. But in this section, I assumed. Wait. He looked at the segregated seating. You own Hicks Auto Service, the whole chain. 12 locations across Colorado. Nicholas turned to me, face flushing. What are you talking about? He's just a mechanic. He fixes cars. Cora told me. James shook his head. He doesn't fix cars. He owns the company. I've been signing checks to Hicks Auto Service for 5 years. Guests started pulling out phones. Whispers spread. Nicholas looked at me. I said nothing. James spoke louder. Hicks Auto Service, 12 locations. Aurora, Littleton, Westminster. He listed locations from memory. We have a fleet maintenance contract, annual contract value over $200,000. A businessman at a nearby table looked up from his phone. He's right. I'm looking at the company website. Orville Hicks, founder and CEO. Another guest, reading from LinkedIn. Estimated business value $8 to $10 million. Nicholas's face drained of color. He stumbled backward. But the truck, the clothes, His friends backed away, distancing themselves. You lied. You pretended to be. I spoke for the first time since standing. My voice carried across the silent room. I didn't lie. I answered every question honestly. You asked what I do. I work in automotive repair. I do every day. I paused. My daughter asked me not to discuss the business. I respected her wishes. She wanted to see how you treat a father-in-law you thought had nothing. I looked at Cora. You showed us exactly who you are, Nicholas. Not just me. Everyone here. Nicholas tried to recover. This is a misunderstanding. I never meant it. It was just jokes. James cut in. You told him to sit in a snowstorm at 4 below zero. That wasn't humor. Linda Whitmore's voice was shrill. You let us humiliate ourselves. You watched us insult a millionaire at our own son's wedding. Cora was sobbing, hands over her face. Nicholas, desperate, tried to approach her. She pulled away. I looked at Cora one last time. I came to my daughter's wedding. I sat where I was told. I stayed quiet while being mocked. Not because I'm weak, because I wanted everyone to see the truth. I turned to leave. I walked through the center of the ballroom this time. Guests parted to let me through. James touched my arm. I'm sorry. I didn't understand. You understand now. That's what matters. Marcus appeared at my side. The papers. Tomorrow. Let tonight settle first. I spoke my final words before crossing the threshold. You wanted to know if I was worthy of your elite company, Nicholas. Turns out you needed to prove you were worthy of mine. You failed. I walked out the main entrance into the snow. As I reached my truck, my phone buzzed. Marcus, she's going to call you soon. Don't answer tonight. Let her think. I started the engine. Through the falling snow, I could see figures in the windows arguing. Cora separated from the others, moving toward the exit. The morning after the wedding, I let my phone ring multiple times before answering Nicholas's fifth call. Orville, please. We need to talk. Last night I made a terrible mistake. His voice was desperate, trembling. The alcohol, the stress. Do you know what this does to me professionally? No, you're trying to manage damage. There's a difference. But I need you to. They think exactly what you showed them. That's not my problem to fix. Before hanging up, I added one more thing. By the way, Cora received her wedding gift yesterday. Documents transferring ownership of all 12 Hicks Auto Service locations to her name. Silence. I could hear him breathing, processing. What? 12 locations. You gave her $8.5 million worth of business. I ended the call immediately. I phoned Marcus. He knows about the transfer. Less than 12 hours. How long until he shows his true colors? Days, not weeks. Money makes people impatient. Over the next week, Cora sent brief texts. Nicholas is acting strange. He keeps asking about the business paperwork. Wants to meet with our accountant. The predictable transformation from contempt to excessive, possessive interest had occurred. A week after the wedding, Cora arrived unannounced. Exhausted and crying, she sat at the kitchen table. Nicholas has been different ever since you told him about the business. He wants me to sign papers, making the shop's marital property. Says it's about trust and partnership. This was a test, wasn't it? You wanted to see what he'd do. I pulled out the original contract, pointed to the bold language. If your marriage lasts 3 years, the business is permanently yours. But if you divorce before then, everything reverts to me. Nicholas can't touch it either way. You built a trap for him to prove what he really wants. I built a mirror so you could see clearly. I stood. I can't answer what you should do. This is your decision. Your life, your marriage. Cora took 2 weeks to decide. The transformation in Nicholas was complete. He abandoned the pretense of affection, demanded shared ownership, and when she refused, he started yelling about wasted opportunities and how she was ungrateful. The breaking point. He called her a disappointment, just like my mechanic father. I'm done, Dad. I need a divorce attorney. Can I use Marcus? Marcus took the case. The divorce was expedited under Colorado's no-fault law. Nicholas fought, demanding the business gift be considered marital property, but Marcus demolished every argument with the ironclad conditional gift deed. By mid-August, the divorce was finalized, barely 2 months after the wedding. The contract's reversion clause activated automatically. All 12 shops returned to my ownership. I heard through James Sullivan that Nicholas was professionally ruined. People are calling him the guy who insulted a millionaire at his own wedding. His firm quietly suggested he seek opportunities elsewhere. His parents are embarrassed, distancing themselves publicly. The $45,000 wedding loan came due. No Cora, no business, no money. Still the debt. Everything Nicholas wanted to achieve through the marriage was lost. Everything he'd mocked me for having was revealed as his own reality. Actually struggling, actually fake, actually desperate. Late August afternoon, I was working at my original shop in Littleton, the one I'd opened 40 years ago. 12 service bays, hydraulic lifts, diagnostic equipment humming with afternoon work. Cora arrived. Looked different, stronger, clearer-eyed. We walked through the facility together. I explained operations. She actually listened now, asked real questions. We sat in the small office where I'd started, drank coffee from the same pot I'd used for decades. I slid new documents across the desk. Full ownership transfer. No conditions this time. It's yours for real now. No tests, no clauses. You've earned it. She started to cry. I'm so sorry for everything. For choosing him, for being ashamed. I stopped her. You learned. That's what matters. Most people never figure out the difference between what glitters and what's actually gold. She wiped her eyes. I thought success meant impressing people like Nicholas. People with the right clothes, the right connections. I was so stupid. You were young. Now you're learning. There's a difference. Will you teach me about the business? I mean, really teach me. Not just the paperwork, but the actual work. I stood, grabbed 2 sets of coveralls from the hook, tossed one to her. First lesson starts now. We've got a transmission to rebuild in Bay 3. She caught the coveralls, held them like something precious. We sat in that office for another hour first, discussing expansion plans, market opportunities, operational improvements. She had ideas, good ones, smart observations about customer service, about building loyalty, about reputation. At some point, she asked about the F-150 parked outside. Still driving it every day. Runs perfectly. I take care of what's mine. She smiled. The first genuine smile I'd seen from her in months. I didn't build this business to prove anything to anyone. I built it because I'm good at what I do, and I treat people right. That's the only success that matters. We walked out onto the shop floor together, father and daughter, both knowing what matters. The gold, not the gilding. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the right. Thank you for watching.